Hey everyone, it's Richard from Small Island Gardener. Today, I would like to show you how to reclaim your grapevines once they've gone too far. Last summer, it was a real struggle picking the grapes because I had to tunnel my way through all that vigorous growth. And also, many of the leaves were covering the fruit, and it just took a little longer for them to ripen. Pruning is a combination of science and art. I can't just look at this and know exactly where to make every single cut at the moment. There's just too much going on and it overwhelms my brain. So step one is going to be to remove any of these very tiny vines here, and then that'll expose more of the skeletal form, and then I can go from there and decide what cuts to make next. So, time to get started. Once the vines get to this stage, pruning it does not look the same as it would had it been done every single year. It needs to be done quite heavily, and very likely this year's yield will suffer as a result, because the plants will be quite stressed, will have a lot of wounds to heal, and that's totally normal when you do a heavy pruning to get a poor yield that year. But it's a sacrifice that must be made, because if this is done properly this year, then next year just a basic minor pruning can be done, and the yield then will be amazing. Oh wow, this vine is interwoven with that one there. That is no good. So when you're in a situation like this, the best thing to do is evaluate them and just decide which one do you think looks the strongest, the thickest, has the most growth nodules. And I see it's this, and it's thicker, more growth, and it's a lot less twisty and turny. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. By the way, it also helps if you have the proper tools. I can't say that I do right now. So it's taking a little longer. There we go. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, that's hanging on. See, now I could see that this vine isn't even from here. It is from that one there at the bottom. And I want to give this one here as much space as it would need without being interrupted from that vine there. So for now at least, I'm going to cut it right here, make sure it still can hold on to that metal wire. Wow. Okay. So, unfortunately, because this vine has not been maintained, it's at quite an angle. I can lift it, but I don't want to hurt it. And I'm just trying to see if there's a way for me to bring this up without causing it damage. Takes a lot of pressure for me to get it to this upright angle. And the problem when you're pruning plants that have gone too far is that there isn't always a positive answer. Sometimes a plant can go too far where you just have to accept its faults. And I'm starting to think that this one here may have to lean to the right. It doesn't seem like many of these vines do that. It really is this one. Well, they all do to a degree, but this is pretty bad. So anyways, I will get rid of this as that goes into the other vine's space. And And there we have it. This is the first of probably 30 or 40 grapevines. It's gonna be a job. Yeah, I don't want to accept that answer. I really would wish I can get it a better angle. Let's see, what happens if I wrap that around like this? You know, that actually helps a little bit. It doesn't fix it entirely. Oh, but that does. Okay, not entirely, but that really helps. Okay, something else when you're pruning. Downward growth is not a good thing. For grapes, you want to be sideways or vertical. So I'm cutting that down in hopes to encourage all of the growth over here from this nodule. And I think this is done. That looks pretty good to me. So yeah, as you saw me use this one vine to wrap around the wire and hold it up, this goes more towards the art side of it, because it would be great for me to cut this vine off right about here. But it's, at least this year, of more use to me to hold it up in hopes that it can bend and solidify the trunk in a more vertical position. Okay, on to the next. I'll use this moment as an opportunity to show you something else. These leader vines here are pretty wonderful. They're nice and thick. They have some growth nodules quite regularly. And it would be a shame to get rid of them all. And the less you stress these vines, the more they will produce this year. So as much as I would like to get these back to a completely finished skeletal form, sometimes it's in the grower's best interest to make this a 2-year process or even a 3-year process, because I would rather get some sort of yield this year than nothing at all, and then spend a good chunk of time going farther with this job next winter. Now, as you can see, this is a huge mess. It's hard to know which vine all of these come from. So I'm gonna take off the littlest ones and figure out what to do next. All right, so here's the base of this one. Comes up here off the main stem. This comes up, around, goes around again, and comes up here. It's absolutely absurd. And it locks in this one here, which again comes from around here from the base. That's so stupid. And so these two, again, they cross. One goes that way, this one comes here, goes all the way across here, and this one also went really far that way until I snipped it off. Actually, no, that one didn't. I could see that one was actually cut off years ago. Yeah, of course, the camera's not gonna focus. Anyways, so now I have to make the decision of what to cut. I don't want anything to rub. I don't want any downward growth. So yeah, let's see what I do. So I do see there's some nodules there and here. So I'm just gonna go right here. There's some nodules here, 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 and here. And I know this starts to go down just a slight bit, but when you prune, there is always the chance of infection, and you might lose some of the vine past the nodule that you intend. So it can be a good idea to go one nodule past what you truly intend to keep, just for safety reasons, especially when the branches, well, in this case vines, are so big and thick that there's more of a chance for disease. This plant's going to go through a lot of stress, so anything is possible. That one's good. This one here, I I can cut here. I'm going to get rid of these two lower ones. And that will, okay. See, I have this one that goes out here, this one here that I think I'll cut off because they're really close, and this one's bigger and stronger. But it's also the result of a downward growth. But then again, it is stronger and older, so I do choose to keep that one. Again, this is a combination of science and art. And that's what I'm deciding to do. So that one is done. So anyways, this one, although it comes up from the middle and then wraps around here, it doesn't actually touch this vine that comes up, but it does go over this direction. So I imagine having this one on the right, center, and left. I could even, oh well, so much for that. No, I'll just leave it as it is. It'll rest, and then next year, maybe I will get some growth here that I could then wrap around here to truly secure it, because it is quite wobbly. But it looks like, almost, there we go. This is done. So now there's 1, 2, 3 vines done. And it's starting to look really clean, spacious, just nice. Since I've got 4 of them pruned, now would be an excellent time to just do a walk by and show what they look like side by side. There's a lot of space between them, just down to some major vines. There we have it. That is what they look like once they've been reclaimed. Here's another great example of a vine where there really is no right choice. First of all, the stem comes up far to the right. The main leader ends up having 2 vines from it, and they both go this way, but as you can see, this one isn't really extending very far, whereas this one extends farther and it's wrapped around nice. So I will get rid of that. That much I know. This one here, I think that I can get rid of it here and then have a little bit of center growth there. And then that also, coming from the same vine there, ends up going here. But as you can see, it just elbows right there, and it's so ugly, and it doesn't even extend very far. So I'll see what I can do about stretching it, but I really don't think I can. I think that that's just what it's going to be. So what I'll do is this year, with the growth that comes out of here, or possibly out of here, I'll extend it and wrap that around here, and then next winter I will cut this off, just so I get something a little straighter and nicer. These next cuts are going to require some sacrifice. This vine here, which grows very nicely, quite vertical. I have something straight from the top, lots of nodules here. They'll branch out in the spring, and that's great. And then this side, this little guy, which ends right here, ideally this is going to wrap around there. But as you can see, there's this big one that extends all the way to here. It's quite thick, very established. Comes from here. This is part of it. Gets even bigger, goes over here, and it comes from that one over there. So, as much as I don't like it, because that is quite established, it's going to give a lot of grapes, I have to sacrifice this long vine for the health of this grape plant here. So, away it goes. However, I'll get to that in a moment. Look how barren that looks now. So I'll wrap this one around a bit. Grapes often have great places to hook onto the wires. Anyways, that's all that's left of this one. What was I going to say about this one? Okay, so this one extends quite far, and it's not hurting anybody by growing this far. So I'll give this one a little bit of space to grow to the left, and I'll cut this one off right about here. So in the long run, and we're probably talking 2-3 years from now, there should be some nice growth coming from this that I'll want to extend to about the middle of this wire. And then I will cut this one back. But for now, I'll only get more grapes next year by having this extend farther. Wow, that's it. At least for this row. That is 1/3 of the job complete. But it sure feels great to have one solid row done, and it looks amazing. Let's do a walkthrough. Okay, so starting at the post, we've got this. Look how clean that looks. Looking straight down from this angle compared to this side and that side. Wow, what a difference, eh? What a difference. Oh, it's going to be so nice walking through here in the summertime to pick the grapes. Assuming they weren't stressed out enough to not grow grapes. Oh, that feels nice. So, that's how it's done. And that's that. So, thanks a lot for hanging around as I pruned these grapes. As big of a task as it is, I find it to be so much fun. It's very relaxing. Spend some time out in the rare winter sun and reclaim garden space, imagining what the spring and summer is going to be like, and just knowing that I'm taking care of the plants that benefit me and my family so much. These gave so much grape juice last year, and this next year I'll be making more grape juice as well as some wine, and it tastes amazing. You can't buy grape juice that good. And well, looking forward to the wine. I haven't had Concord wine in years. Anyways, one more thing that I would like to mention about this job, it's something that a lot of new gardeners especially have a hard time overcoming, is heavily pruning your plants. I used to think when I started gardening, oh, my wonderful plant, no, I don't want to cut you back. You were so beautiful last year, and I can't stand the thought of you being this scraggly looking bare thing next year. But it's tough love. You know, you make that sacrifice this one season, and every year forevermore, you will never look back wishing that you didn't do that. It's going to grow back healthier, more vigorous, in the shape that you want it to be, which is so important as a gardener. You don't want things to grow wild. It's one of those things. You'll have to experience it for yourself, because me telling you or someone close to you telling you that you gotta prune your plants, it might not be enough. I know it's like that for some of my friends, and you just have to gain the experience and take the leap of faith and just cut them back. As bare as they look, you'll be so happy that you did. Anyways, I just felt it was really important to mention that, because it's a very common hold up for any new gardener who needs to do some major pruning. So yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that you learned something and that you're ready to go prune your grapes too. Until next time, I'm Richard, and happy gardening. Bye.